It's good to be back with you again. Having just delivered the eulogy at my father's funeral has caused a flood of memories and new thoughts to enter into my way of being. For instance, don't you think it's rather sad that most people are honored with a eulogy only after they die? And given we're a community who thinks and wakes up to living with cancer each day, we, more than anyone else, might understand why. We just might want to start expressing to those we love our appreciation while they're alive, because we never know when our own ride on the bus of life will end. This became a strange yet bittersweet reality every time I left my dad's side during the last 2 months of his life. I was always the one doing the physical leaving, but it was really he who was leaving. So I always considered it a blessing when I had yet another day to spend time with him. And such thoughts are never so poignant as when we're with someone we know is dying. But isn't this really the way we were meant to live? At least most of the time. Unhurried in the moments that count, being fully alive and engaged in the time we spend with the people we love. Our minds totally uncluttered from the things that, when you get right down to it, don't mean a hoot when all is said and done. Treating each day as if you are writing a living eulogy, as each sunset marks yet the passing of another page in your book of light. Yet, death of a parent seems to have its own complexities emotionally. It's a mixture of great sadness spun into a kaleidoscope of all the events in your life since the time you arrived on this earth. And it's also a reminder that you likely have more years behind you now than ahead of you. And when you have cancer, no matter if you're the one with it or the well daughter or son or wife or husband, your own mortality is shoved in your face along with theirs, and the both of you are reluctantly placed in the ring for the toughest battle of your life. But there is one thing I do know for sure. Love heals. So maybe this is the time to think about writing a living eulogy. And you don't have to call it that if it makes you feel uncomfortable. But it will take some courage. Think of it as a tribute to the living. And this could very well set the stage for the most heartfelt and significant conversations you'll ever have with the people that really matter in your life. Because in the discussion of your relationship, your hopes, your fears, even the sensitive issues, the business that needs to be taken care of, you'll likely resolve it far less painfully than you would otherwise, and achieve a renewed closeness so that you can battle this disease together. And praying that you do come out the other side victorious. You'll be prepared for the fact that your life and the way you look at it, it'll never be the same. You're not really the same person after a cancer experience. Something in you and about you changes forever. And it will be frustrating at times to re-enter the normal patterns of life and be around people who haven't yet been hit by that cosmic 2x4 to be so reminded of their mortality. Because sometimes the pettiness and the self-inflicted drama you're going to see around you will make you want to scream, enough, give it a rest already. This is quite true. I've had a lot of people say this to me. Because, you see, cancer has a way of being ever present. And even when you're through your treatment, no matter how many years out it is, occasionally you'll have a little pain and suddenly you'll think, oh, it's back. And that little fear will sneak up behind you and grab you by the throat and say, you can't escape me. Mortality. If only the healthy had the gift of that kind of fear that cancer patients have. Because out of that fear and not wanting to die, our lives are actually enriched by this damn disease. And it is such an uncomfortable thing for me to say, especially after I've just lost my father, because cancer sucks. You don't want to give it any credit for anything, but it at least has this as its gift. For example, take this moment right now. I'm living as I'm recording this for you. It's a connection. And it's living, truly. It's the way life is. It's the moments that make life what it is. And it also reminds me what a friend once told me, May, she's a thyroid cancer survivor, and she said after she finished her treatment, she found it really difficult to be so alive, especially to re-enter the workforce and being around so many people who take so much for granted, and they're always complaining about little things because they haven't yet had that realization yet. So she said, I really had to catch myself sometimes because it was so frustrating for me. And she told me about this one day that this lady that worked beside her came in, and she says, guess what happened to me? My car battery died. What a way to ruin your day. And May is thinking, gee, you're having a conniption because your battery's dead, and now this has ruined your day? And she said, I just wanted to wheel around and scream. Well, what does the biopsy say? You see, the point that May was making is that we are the determiners of our own prognosis on life. So I'd like to leave you with this simple suggestion. Not only do you want to live your life in a way that makes each day sweet enough to be your last, but you might want to consider telling the people you love what they really mean to you and what makes them so special. And make the time to share what you learn as you go along in your own life, so you help enrich everyone's time between the dashes, the ones between born and died, on the epitaphs of our lives.